Hey guys and welcome. I hope you're all having a fantastic year, and yes, I know it's been a while, but I am going to be coming back. So today we're going to be casting myself as the Chaos Dwarfs, going up against Mr. Everchicken as the Druchii. Now we're going to be playing on the Galbaraz today, a nice wide flat map, really good for all these training battles. So at the front, pretty classic here for the Dark Elves, 5 units of the cost-efficient Bleak Swords, and they're going to be backed up by the anti-large Dread Spears. For the rear, we are going to have the Mobility, 2 units of the Dark Riders, and then 3 units of the anti-large and armor-piercing Cold One Knights. For the Lord Choice in the middle, we are going to have the Supreme Sorceress of Death, really good here on her steed, making her nice and mobile. So here with the Life Leeching, Spirit Leech, and the Fate of Buna. Now really packing the punch today, we are going to have 5 units of the Duck Shards in the pocket. Now this is going to be really tough to look after. 5 units of range is quite substantial. So on the right hand flank for me, 2 units of the Hobgoblin Wolf Riders, backed up by the Bull Sendar Renders. On the left hand side, 2 more units here of the Mobility, backed up by the Regiment of Renown. So the Dark Ravagers are seriously powerful. These boys, you do not mess with them. Anti-infantry, armor piercing, throwing axes as well, here with the Guardian, the Revel in Fear, and then all of these resistances. These boys really do wreak havoc. On the front, we are going to have 3 units of the Orc Labourers, bringing the armor piercing, backed up by 3 units of the cheap bad boys in the front. In the back, we are going to have the Blazing Beards. Now, these boys are beautiful to look at, I have to say. Look at these guys. They are so fantastic. And they're also going to be brilliant, bringing armor piercing for those blasting charges. And, of course, that beautiful armor, which is going to be really good here up against a lot of the Druchii. Now, we are going to be having normal units of the Chaos Warriors, and these bad boys are relatively expensive, as is the faction here, which is one of the main weaknesses. Now, we do see in the middle the man, the myth, the legend. So, Astragoth Iron Hand, the super powerful, which is what I like to call him. Now, he's going to be here with the Stone Mantle, Kindle Flame, alongside the spells of the Hell Hammer, and then also the Cascading Fire Cloak. So we're going to be diving forward here, a little bit of a rotation from my opponent. Chicken's going to be moving forward, trying to get onto one side of my army, so he's only going to be fighting half of it. Really smart there from him, but you can see I'm not going to be phased by that. I'm just going to rotate my army, and I'm going to make sure that we attack all at the same time. Lots and lots of damage in the front as the Goblin boys dive forward, but they're going to be made mincemeat of here by the elite Bleak Swords. Well, at least elite in comparison. They're going to be wavering. They've already had enough. 3 seconds of combat between the Dark Shards and the Bleak Swords, and you know, they're out. I've had enough, and do you know what? I don't blame them. In the middle, breaking left, right, and centre as we now come in with the Chaos Dwarf Warriors. These boys will be charging forward. They're going to be pretty difficult here for the Bleak Swords to deal with. Now, in the middle, we are going to be having the Hell Hammer going down the line. Oh my god, that is so much damage up against the Dark Shards, also catching up against the Cold One Knights. Now, diving the backside heroically here, Astragoth going to be compromising the Dark Shards. But we do have anti-large armor-piercing cavalry pinning in with that mass. Really good there from Chicken, but he really doesn't know who he's going up against. Astragoth is an absolute animal in combat, and he's going to be wrecking all sorts of good lizards here in the pocket. Coming on the flanks, now we do see the Bull Centaur Renders a little bit slow from me here to get into the back pocket. We do see Dark Shards breaking after that beautiful spell, and throwing axes coming to the backside of the Cold One Knights. That Shield Breaker going down, and we're actually going to be diving in with the Hobgoblin Wolf Riders. These bad boys are going to have a pretty good screen, just allow the Dark Ravagers here to keep those throwing axes going. Orc Labourers coming around the backside, probably should have got them in here up against the Dark Shards, but nonetheless, I'm going to be in the back here with some cavalry. Now, we can see the Dwarf Warriors breaking down up against the Bleak Swords. This is one of the weaknesses here for the Dark Elves. They really do have to invest quite a lot here to deal with the infantry of the Chaos Dwarfs. Now, units at the backside here are going to be returning, and they're going to be really key later on in the battle. In the middle, we are going to get the prowess going on here, which is going to be giving lots of good bonuses throughout the battlefield. And you can see, look how late my cavalry is here. A bit of a misplay there from me, but still, nonetheless, we're going to be in the back fighting with the Centaur Renders. And they're going to be absolutely butchering the face here of the Cold One Knights. They really don't stand a chance, but good help coming in from the Dread Spears. Really smart gameplay coming in from Ever Chicken. Fighting in the middle, Spirit Leech going down, really good on Astragoth. He can't heal himself, which is one of the bonuses of having a Flying Death caster. Down the line, look at that, the Hellhammer charging through up against the Dark Shards, doing really good damage to 2 units. On the left-hand side, the Hobgoblin Wolf Riders have been broken, and we do see here the Orc Labourers really struggling up against those Dread Spears. Now, at this point in the battle, you can see it's relatively even, but we are now starting to get towards the tail end of the ability here for the Dark Elves. And when that goes, I think we're going to start to struggle with the Druchii. Pushing through the middle, we see the Chaos Dwarf Warriors going to be charging into the backside here of the Dark Shards. Now, we do see the Bull Centaur Renders just going to be stopping that armor-piercing fire coming through. A big weakness here for the very large cavalry. Spirit Leech down yet again on Astragoth as we're going to fight in hand-to-hand combat with the Supreme Sorceress. She dives down heroically, trying to do whatever damage she can do up against Astragoth, but he's not a man that is easily swayed or killed. In the back, lots of cavalry here going to be fighting for the best of their abilities. Now, the Dark Ravagers are just brutal in combat. They just devastate and destroy anything in their way, and as you can see, looking rather healthy at this moment. In the middle, Dwarf Warriors fighting up against the Dark Shards and just more piling in. And this is where kind of the reinforcements coming back here, bringing them into the battlefield is super useful, because now in the late game I can use them to push off all of these Dark Shards. In the back, they're going to be breaking here. Cavalry is going to be chasing off the Wolf Riders. Very smart stuff indeed. And this is something that I really like to use quite a bit, which is going to be the Cascading Fire Cloak. Giving really good melee defense and armor piercing is going to help here up against these elite Cold War Knights. So they're going to be fighting in the middle, and they're going to butcher off the cavalry here. And if I can win the mobility game, I can shut down all this nice expensive range. In the middle, we do see Bleak Swords fighting up against the Chaos Warriors, and now some of the Goblin Labourers starting to come through. Bit of a charge here from the cavalry. These boys really have had a really crappy day in the middle, and they've got thumped for an absolute yardage there. Fantastic stuff. This was football. That's some pretty good points there, that's for sure. Now, Astragoth coming in, he's going to be fighting, and he has enough weapon strength that he's going to be killing a model with pretty much every single swing, but this was just infuriating. Spirit Leech after Spirit Leech after Spirit Leech made it really, really tough here for me to keep Astragoth going in the game without losing him. Now, in the middle, the Goblin Neighbor is going to be charging forward. Dark Shards have broken, so we can see the Bull Centaur Renders doing what I need them to do, chasing off those really heavily armor-piercing bolts in the backside, just to make sure that my armored troops can get forward. And as you can see, looking relatively low, the Chaos Dwarf Warriors, not very happy. Still pretty strong in leadership, but they're going to be struggling in total. So we're going to see some arrows firing here in the front. The Bull Centaur Render is going to be charging in unamongst, and look at that as well, sending them flying. We do have a little bit of support, but it looks like they're going to be broken. The Cold Ones really have had enough here today, and they have been butchered within an inch of their life. Now, Goblin Labour is going to be fighting as well. They're going to be helping to push off the cavalry and, you know, just try and support and get rid of those units that have been broken, so we can get the Centaur Renders fighting where I need them to fight. Dread Spears looking rather healthy. There could be a bit of a problem here for my cavalry, fighting up against the Dwarf Riders. Sadly, they just don't really have the AP necessary. So Spirit Leech going down on the Centaur Renders. Cascading Fire Cloak was activated. They're going to be fighting here up against the Lord, and they are destroying her. Look at the damage! Holy hell, that is some absolute thumping by these guys. But she does manage to get them off the battlefield, and that swayed the balance of power massively. I'm not sure that was an effective trade there, but, you know, we did manage to get rid of it. I probably would have chased this unit off. I can see this unit coming back here very shortly. Goblin Neighbor is coming back. They're going to be chasing off the Dark Shards. This is what they're so good for in the late game. And, you know, this is scary. For anybody to see a unit such as the Dark Ravagers in the late game looking as healthy as this, with maximum models, I might add, that is very, very scary indeed. Now on the backside, 2 leaderships, so they could return. And it looks like here, what is this going to be? This is going to be another Cascading Fire Cloak. Given that AP, that melee defense to fight, just that support in total is really going to help fight up against the Supreme Sorceress. And then we go. That's going to be army losses. GG's, and well played here to my opponents for a fantastic game. So I really enjoyed this game. I just wanted to share it with you guys, and if you did enjoy it as well, of course do feel free to like and subscribe to the channel. You know, it helps with all the algorithms, etc. But we'll very quickly go through most of the key points in the battle. 2k value there for Astragoth. Iron Hand is just, yeah, he's really powerful, and I really like some of his spell kit. It really can, you know, turn the tide of a battle if you use it in the, you know, certainly in the right timings. 150 kills, 1000 value for the Ravagers, perhaps using too many of the throwing axes, not charging them into combat against units enough, but you know, having them as a hybrid unit is so nice there in the backfield. 1900 for the Bull Centaur Renders, and we can see here 380, 82, 200 and 550 for the Hobgoblin Spear Riders. 800 for the Blazing Beards, alongside 600, 600, 570 and 350, so overall coming in about what you would expect. 200, 130 and 100 for the Orc Labourers, with 90, 99, 200, 150 and 58. So overall, most of the army doing what I needed to do, either absorbing damage or really packing a punch, and you know, these Bull Centaur Renders, unbelievably powerful. 1200 there for the Supreme Sorceress of Death, a real pain in my backside. I think unfortunate charging up against the Centaur Renders there in the end, giving them a lot of value, that's for sure. But 250, 200, 300 and 200 and 460 for the Bleak Sword. So overall okay, but they really suffer up against the Dwarf Warriors for sure. 600, 300, 54, 360 and 400 for the Duck Shards, with 300, 240, 340, 360 for the Dread Spears. So actually, if you do go on fruit rules, it's a little bit too many, but you know, it was just a training game, and still nonetheless, I think something here that we could bring to attention is, I think maybe too many Dark Shards. I think it was just too much to protect. But we can see 500, 750 and 630 for the Cold Blood Knights, just really getting outplayed and just outperformed by the Bull Centaur Renders. They're just so powerful right now. These boys are almost designed to deal with them, but they still struggle just so much. 700 and 450 there for the Dark Riders. So I really hope you guys enjoyed this one. As I said, please feel free to leave a like, subscribe, and of course comment with your favourite builds here for the Chaos Dwarfs and Dark Elves, and I'll be seeing you guys in the next one.